and I'm your host, Mr. Q. Uh, Ascension. Ascension is about going higher, about going beyond what you think your capabilities and limitations might be. It's about challenging ourselves every single day to manifest our dreams and to live the life that we want to live. So I'm starting this movement, under the flag of Ascension. And it's Ascension with Mr. Q. And what we'll cover, the initial component of it will involve travel, because I have a very big announcement that I will continue to nurture and tell you about. And I probably will get into it a little bit towards the end of our dialogue today. But I'm so happy and honored to launch this concept that I have of ascension, of engaging with other people throughout the disabled community who are establishing legacies, who are dealing with the obstacles and opportunities. And I want to provide everything. You guys know my philosophy. Everything, is going to start from within, about nurturing your connection to whatever that higher power, or whatever you want to call it, the divine power in you, whatever that force is that is within you. It starts with connecting in it. And I think that one thing you will find amongst many people who, especially that are disabled and who have become limb loss people at later in their life, that they establish a connection to them, to the deeper selves. They put in some time into evaluating and connecting and making big changes in their life, okay? Because you ain't gonna be able to live life like you used to. And that's a good thing, amen? That's a good thing, okay? So I'm very happy to kick off this series with a gentleman who has certainly become a close associate of mine. And we're very excited. And I'm gonna actually put on my announcer's voice and read a little bit of information about you. Now, all of us who lived through the 90s and care about music know and love Andre Dr. Dre Brown. He has made his mark on radio and television, in the movies and in print, working successively as a recording artist, hip-hop DJ, composer, talent scout, on-air personality, author, actor, and critic. He's undoubtedly best known as the co-host with Ed Lover of YoMtv Raps, the TV show that did more than any other to make rap and hip hop culture a global phenomenon. After Yo, Dre and Ed duo funneled their chemistry into major market radio. They held down the morning show on New York Hot 97, then on LA's The Beat, and finally on New York's Power 105. What is less known is that Dre had been struggling with the effects of advanced type 2 diabetes for a long time. Dr. Dre lost his sight in 2009, and in 2020, he became a lower limb amputee. And so today we're going to have with us right now, in a very few seconds, the great Mr. Dr. Dre. Let me go and bring him in here now. What I got to do is share the screen. Boom. And there you go. All right. Dr. Dre, we're live, brother. How you doing today?
Well, how you doing today? Thank you for that wonderful intro. And I'm definitely excited about this Ascension thing, because it just makes me feel like, from a famous song from one of my favorite groups in the world, Earth, Wind & Fire, keep your head to the sky.
Amen.
So important.
Amen. It is, brother. That is the truth there. Now, my audience knows Dre, so they can have full disclosure. So Dre and I are certainly talk a great deal, and we are certainly close associates. So if it becomes a bit informal, it's because we talk a lot. And so if I'll make sure that we stay on our point of reference, but just let the audience know that, this is not like a guy that we just wrote and decided to have on the show. He's a buddy of mine, and we're doing some business together. And happiness and sunshine is yet to be had, my friend. So tell us a little. Can you hear me, Dre? Can you hear me, Dre?
I cannot hear you.
Okay, we're back. We're back. We lost the connection there for a second.
I figured that, but you know.
Yes, sir.
It show must go on.
Yeah, okay, it popped back on. So as I was asking, tell us about Dr. Dre's Victory Foundation. What are your missions and what do you do?
Well, simply, the Dr. Dre Victory Foundation was founded on the fact that I consider myself super bad. That's a blind amputee type 2 diabetic. And what the Victory Foundation is to increase accessibility for people with disabilities and special needs.
conversations. But something that actually you just touched upon that I'm also always committed, coming from some background in education. You know what I'm realizing, brother, is that there's a tremendous opportunity, and that's part of what this ascension is. It's about maybe you never thought, if you're out there and you're disabled, you never thought that, oh man, there's no place for me in entertainment or in media, okay, because of my disability. Well, what Dr. Dre and I think concur on is that why not create our own platforms and content that showcase the stories that we want to tell. And that also there lies a great opportunity to reach back in to the archives and to classics and to vintage media and represent that to an audience, sometimes for the first time, or for some people, it will be a stroll down memory lane, who are now finding themselves in a different place and with different physicality at this time in their life. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I found that an important point, what you're making, for the fact that here, it's simple as this. As we get older, and some people take care of their health, some people do not. You shouldn't be crucified or let go of or shunned to the corner and put a dunce cap on and left to be, well, you got to go bye-bye. There's a lot of people out there that are very resourceful, very educated, very smart, and just need a hand. So our job is to actually put our hand down and lift you up, not put our foot down and keep you down. Right. That's the total opposite of what we want to do. What we want to try to do is strive, as you're saying, in this pandemic, in this time I've had off, and searching to do different types of programs, I've written quite a few shows that are now more inclusive to people with disabilities. And I don't even like using the term disabilities for them when they get involved with this. I say create great abilities and say, look at these characters and look at what they do. For example, when you go to watch a lot of Marvel shows and movies, the first one comes to mind is The Punisher, where one of the characters is an amputee.
Yeah.
He's an amputee. And he's Frank Castle's best friend, AKA The Punisher.
Yeah.
And he has a great fight scene in that series. They didn't go, oh, well, what can we do? We're not going to make him an amputee. That's not going to work. He's in the third episode talking about how he got his leg blown off. And he has a prosthetic. And all what he has to deal with that. It doesn't incur an actor's character. What it does, it makes these things become real to the audience.
Yes.
And in the other series, Hawkeye, his nemesis is an amputee. She's a martial artist amputee, and she's dynamic with that. Mm-hmm. So these stories are starting to come forward, and they're starting to use many different ways to normalize people with disabilities and special needs. It's happening over The Good Doctor deals with a young doctor with autism. Characters are starting to be developed to show that we matter. And that's what the most important thing with the Dr. Dre Victory Foundation. That's why we call it Victory Foundation.
Right. We matter. You know, that's important. And that's so important for people that are in the disabled community. And I don't like to use that term either. You know, they got a dictionary of stuff. I got to familiarize myself with the correct terminology. But people that, you know, have limb loss.
People identify with that. The reason we use disability and special needs is because that's how people identify.
Yeah.
Like the Pan Olympics are for people who are missing limbs and disabilities. The special needs is the Special Olympics for people with certain autism and certain disabilities, so they can participate. So the more inclusive we become, and the more people participate on greater scales, the more we normalize these words, and people stop looking at people strangely.
You're right.
If you see someone in a wheelchair, if you see someone with a cane, if you see someone with glasses, rather than ignore and shun away, say, hey, how are you doing? Anything I can do for you? Well, hey, is there anything you can do for me? Right. You never know.
Right, exactly. You know, the perspective that you have and the motivation that you have, tell us a little bit about where that comes from, since losing your sight and losing your lower limb. And please tell the audience which lower limb you lost, and tell me about some of the changes that you recognize you had to make and some of the challenges of making those changes.
Well, I'm going to start backward. I'm going to go limb first, and then I'm going to go to my eyes. I lost my right lower limb on my right ankle because I fell down a flight of stairs at my sister's house. And I laughed about it. But what happened, unfortunately, being a type 2 diabetic, I got an infection in my ankle. Mm-hmm. And I went to my podiatrist, and we were treating it with oral antibiotics. Mm. But when this happened, this was the beginning of the pandemic. Mm. And we were judging, should we go to the hospital and let them say he's got COVID, or let's try to work outside the hospital, because you're going to go to the hospital and nine times out of 10, they're going to say you have it. So we waited a little too long. My ankle got more infected than we thought. And I went in, and she said, well, as the doctor said, the surgeon said, you got two choices. You could become septic and die, or we could take your leg from your lower part of your body. And I said, well, let me think about it for a second. He said, what? I said, I'm trying to ponder which is a good idea. I said, you know what? You should take the leg, and I'll learn how to walk on a prosthetic. Yeah. That's not going to be a big issue.
Right.
So that's how that happened. And that happened almost 2 years ago, right, around May 25th, on my mother and my son's birthday. Right. So in my early diabetes diagnosis, I lost my grand big toe because I was living in a house, and I did what I told my kids never to do. I was walking around the house without slippers or sandals or something on my feet. Yeah. And I ran upstairs to my son's room, and I stepped on a carpet nail. Mm. And I went, oh, Dad, what was that? And I went and I saw the hole, and it was bleeding. And the first thing I did is get some Neosporin, spray that in it, throw some Curachrome around it, and put a Band-Aid. Yeah. I said, oh, that'll work. Little did I know I had not been diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic at that time. Okay. And as that festered, it became an infection. Right. So when I went to the doctor, they said, we're going to have to take your toe. But eventually, my doctors, subsequent to after that operation, Dr. Wayne said, I shouldn't have taken your toe. I really didn't understand how good circulation you had till when I cut your toe off and the blood hit me in the face. I said, he's got circulation here. We should have spent more time just hitting you with a ton of antibiotics and let the infection go away. So before all that happened, around Barack Obama's campaign for the president of the United States, I started getting fuzzy vision. And the crazy thing, I was taking my mother to laser surgery, and I'm driving her, and I'm squinting my eyes, and putting on all these kind of crazy glasses. And I said, well, you need to go sit and talk to the doctor. And he said, you have a retina problem in one eye, and it may be in the second eye too. So I had an operation called retinopathy in my left eye and my right eye. And after that caused my eye loss. Mm. But to this day, I have what they call recurring vision, where at any time, my vision can pop in and I can see everything. It's nutty. So either my diabetes, I'm working my diabetes real well, or the blessing is I have enough vision still there that it's going to take one big push and I might get my sight back. Wow. That's where my prayers go. I send my prayers to the master planner and I let that spirit guide me. So even with all those things, you would say, but Dr. Ray, don't you walk around upset and depressed enough? I said, sometimes, but not most times. What I try to do is, what else can I do to make this better? How else can I get in a different mindset and do something? Yes. And that's what I do.
Well, now you made some also, besides reaffirming and securing that spiritual connection, you've made some changes dietarily, there you are drinking your water, and you have some wonderful perspectives on diet and consumption as a path to wellness. Share a little bit of that perspective and what you've learned in your time.
Well, it's simple. It's simple. I've researched with a lot of great people. I was good friends with the late great Dick Gregory, my other friend Dr. B, Dr. Furman, and quite a few other folks, all that I've met in the last 10 years. And the craziest things is a good friend of mine, Bill Adler, had an article written about me in the New York Times to discuss what I was going through. And you'd be surprised how many people, first thing they want to do is come down on you and don't know anything about you. Zero. Oh, well, that wouldn't happen to you if you didn't do this. You don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't look into the future and tell you what's going to happen. So what I decided to do is modify my diet, nutrition, increase my exercise. I always was a big water drinker, but at one time I used to always drink soda and popcorn at a movie theater. And I worked for ESPN2 doing movie reviews, DVD and CDs and all these kind of reviews. So every time I'm going to a movie theater, they have a big box of popcorn in my hand. And hey, Dr. Dre, you want a soda? And I said, oh, I'll take a diet soda. And let me tell you something. Diet soda, you might as well drink the one with the sugar. It does the same effect.
Right, right.
It's all chemicals.
Yeah.
And I started researching things you can do to change, just simple chemical changes for your body. So every morning I drink okra water, which basically is 3 pieces of okra in a 16-ounce jar with some water. I place that in there. I place 1 drop of oregano in it. I have that in the morning, and I have it at night. It's a great thing for people who are diabetic.
Why is that?
Stuff like that.
Why is that? What does it contain that makes it so good?
It's the effects of the okra.
Okay.
That help your kidneys.
Oh.
That help your sugar and maintain that balance that you need.
I dig it. Okay.
Because see, some people, what we're discovering with diabetes, and I encourage everyone, do your research. Not my research.
Right.
Your research. Diabetes, they're finding out, is a DNA disease. It's not a sugar disease. This is my research, not yours.
What do you mean by DNA? Tell me what you mean by that. I think I understand, but I just want you to unpack it a little bit for me.
In other words, they're beginning to believe that cancer is caused basically through your DNA and your
Okay, I've heard that,
so
yeah.
So if it's in your family's gene pool, you're going to get some form of that cancer, aka diabetes, aka MS, aka Parkinson's, aka because it's in the pool.
I understand.
So what that's why they're trying to find ways to do better, just not only treatment, but curing it. But there's a big difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is very insulin dependent. It really is. It's much different than type 2. Type 2, you can deal with your nutrition, you can deal with your wellness and your exercise, and you can actually reverse the effects of it. But some people are saying, you really don't reverse the effects of it, because if it's in your DNA, it's in your DNA. But I don't think attribute to its effects. So I do what I think is better for me by having sea moss, by having elderberries, juniper berries, other things that I take as supplements.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure some people call Mr. Q crazy for saying this, but I tell you what, brother, if they say it's DNA based, I'm of the mindset that you can change anything with the power of the mind and the glory of the Lord. You can change anything, even if it is on the molecular level, that if you can visualize, you can actualize. Ain't gonna work all the time, because sometimes you got to go through certain trials and tribulations in order to learn the greater lesson that's in store for you. But
well, as you would use the word ascension and growth, and I say keeping our heads to the sky. My mother will be turning 95 years young.
Yes, sir.
This May. 95 years young.
Yeah.
But my father passed away at 56 years of age. So when I became 56, I broke down a little bit because my father died of cancer. His mother died of cancer in her 60s. His father died in his 90s, but his brother, his two brothers, and his sister are living well into their 80s. You can't poke a finger at this. And my father was the eldest of his. But my sister has had cancer. My brother is fighting cancer. I have diabetes. So there's something to say about your gene pool and all this. We can't, sometimes we bring it to us, but sometimes it's the chemicals, it's the food we're eating. So I promote a healthier lifestyle with more vegetables, more salads, more fruits, more natural things. But I'm an honest man. That's why the book I'm doing, the Bernadette wants me to do, Confessions of a Food Addict. I explain this, my friend Dr. Furman said, everybody's going to cheat. But when you cheat, just make sure the next day you jump back on the program.
There you go. It's about making a lifestyle change, though. That's what it sounds like that you've done. And I find myself at 52, having just turned 52, that I recognize I need to make some lifestyle changes. I'm really focusing a lot of attention to de-stressing my life and kind of minimalizing things and narrowing my focus and my perspective, and that's going to help. And my health is going to play a big part of that. Let
me give you two quick suggestions.
Yes, sir.
Because you'll be in this stories to say, oh, when you get to 40s, your 50s, as a man, you start waking up with aches and pains. And your body hurts. I don't have any of that.
I hear you.
I have zero of that. Even in the pandemic, I don't have any of that. Here's suggestion number one. Talk to the master planner, talk to God, talk to the creator you want to speak to, and meditate.
Yes.
Start with 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day. When you first wake up, just start, just a little at a time. No one says, oh, go deep. Let's go deep on choke on them. We're going to do 25-minute meditations. No, that's not necessary.
Right.
What you need to do is it's simple. So what you do is you give your mind a chance to rest, and you give your mind a chance it's an exercise that gives your mind a chance to reboot. And the same thing goes when you're changing your diet and you're changing that lifestyle. Instead of it just being a lifestyle change, make it I used to tell my brother this. I said, Fred, why don't we have a party for getting rid of the pork chops? He said, well, I said, yeah, man, why don't you get that last pork chop and we'll have a big party. And then leave it alone, man. Just leave it alone. It's so, look, you've had it. Because in our ages, I'm 58, you're 52. We grew up at a time when certain foods were cooked for us because that was not only affordable, but it was survival food.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we ate those hog maws and chitlins and all that stuff that we had, we knew was great. When mom deep fried everything in super deep Crisco, and I was like, yeah, that was cool back then. But now, don't get me wrong, I love my fried fish. I love fried food, but it's the balance.
Yes, exactly.
It's the balance. So if I eat some fried fish one day, you can damn sure know the next 3 days I'm solid back.
Right.
Heavy salad. And there's nothing wrong with having certain smoothies, but find smoothies that are going to be productive for your body and what's going to make you work.
Right. And
I have to let the hamburgers go. I have to let a lot of certain things go. But sometimes, as I say, you're going to cheat because that's what's inherent in you. But if you go hard and you wipe it out, you have a chance. It's like a what do you call it, addict? A narcotic addict, or anything like that. If they go hard, it's very difficult because anything could trigger them right back in.
Sure.
And the worst addict on the world is a food addict because you have to eat to live. I just find better things to eat when I want to live. If I snack something, I find the best snack I can find and go, okay. Like I keep carrots with me all the time. I keep apples. I keep certain things that if I say, I want to go off the rail, I'll get a cracker and I'll have some peanut butter. Some peanut butter and a cracker. There's protein. It works.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what you said
in moderation.
Yeah.
In moderation.
You said something very key, and we got to make sure the audience knows this and recognizes. Oh, and I see Miss Bernadette. She's been in the room, but I haven't brought her on camera or anything. She's just listening right now. You guys got to know your own body. And change can be gradual, but change is necessary. Okay. You always want to try to make a choice before the universe forces you into making a choice, because sometimes the universe ain't going to be so nice with how they try to get you to wake up to what you need to be paying attention to. So get to know your body, because I'm of the mindset that, yes, there are basic components that we as human machines do need, but that each individual has the power to find out what's going to work and make their body chemistry work. Because I do believe that some people can be totally fine being completely vegetarian, but I've also come across a number of athletes and hunters and stuff that really believe that I need meat, a certain amount of meat in my diet to function. And that's what it's about, functioning.
Because that's a learned behavior. That's a learned behavior you were taught, especially in our age range. We were taught that as children. Our next generation is going to be a lot different, and they're going to eat differently, and they're going to have modified that. That's why I don't understand when they say in the United States, we're having the problem, importing meat. I said, importing meat? We got enough pigs, cows, lambs.
Yeah. Well, hell, on the news the other day, on the NPR news, I was listening the other day, they coming out now with the more ground up crickets and bugs as a staple of our diet. And also, I was very surprised to hear just so blatantly the synthetic meat. So that is now becoming very, they're really pushing it mainstream this coming year and I guess towards the future.
Well, let me give you a simple thing you could do to help your nutrition out there. It's like a smoker who puts his pack down and says, I'm not going to do this anymore. Here it is. All you have to do is G-bomb. And G-bomb is real simple. It's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Now let's go to greens. We're talking about broccoli, cauliflower, salads, all kinds of, whichever salad,
kale,
spinach, whatever greens you want to do. Go to the greens, go to the peas. Greens, beans. There's black beans, there's pinto beans, there's all type of beans out there. Lima beans that are good for you, that you can replace your meat with beans. Onions. Onions is the biggest secret out there that will help your functionality, help your functionality, and clear your blood, and help get some of those corrosive arteries, and help get the plaque out of your arteries. Onions are, and there's red onions, there's big onions that make you cry when you cut them.
Yeah.
All type of onions. You could grill them, you could eat them raw. Onions, essential. Mushrooms. And I'm not talking about the mushrooms that take you there. It's a balance. Those are good too. But when I get something crazy safe, I want to get a piece of pizza. I always get mushrooms, onions, broccoli. And I said, no, you can take the cheese off. I want it that way. You sure? I said, yeah, I want it that way. And people said, why you eat all that? I said, yeah, because that's better than the slice I'm getting. Because the slice makes me, it's comfortable, but all that other stuff I'm doing is helping me nutritious.
Right.
Then there's berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, berries. The best immune fighting for your system are berries. And the last but not least, seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds. A cup of seeds in your salad, a cup of seeds in your meal, 1 cup. You'll be surprised how it makes your system immune, especially in this time of these multiple viruses out there.
Yeah.
G-bomb. That's all you got to do.
G-bomb. I like that, buddy. That's a good one there. Where'd you get that G-bomb concept?
I give credit to my friend, Dr. Fermi.
Yes, sir.
Who showed me that.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, guys, we're going to start wrapping up the show. It's been really great having Dr. Dre on with us tonight. And, guys, I'm so happy to, as Dr. Dre and I have been alluding to, we're involved in some business together where, we really are combining our efforts and our powers to bring about greater accessibility and inclusive media, to develop inclusive media that really is demonstrative of the diversity within the disabled community. And we're moving on and pushing in on that subject. And I don't know how much exactly we want to reveal right now, but Dr. Dre has touched upon the value of audio descriptions and providing as much audience as possible to experience the various types of media that are out there. Dr. Dre, is there anything you want to say about that?
Very simple. We are going to be inclusive, diverse. We'll give greater accessibility to those with blindness, those with deafness, those with special needs and disabilities. And we want to create a platform for them so you'll be able to get it with accessibility with ease.
Right.
That's the goal.
With
the ease of it all. But we also eventually create productions that, as I said before, we're going to bring people with our special abilities to the forefront. So the next time you're watching a program, whether it be the Emmys, the Oscars, the Grammys or something, and you see somebody walk out there, you say, man, how'd they do that? Even the #1 Oscar movie this year was portrayed by a deaf person called Coda.
Yes, I've heard about it. Yeah.
Won an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
So our goal is to continue putting that forth to the planet.
Right.
To the planet. Because 1.5 billion people can't all just be put in a corner and asked to be wearing a dunce cap.
That's right.
So feel free. I'd love to come back and we can expound
absolutely
on some of these thoughts and ideas as we build, as it grows, and people will be surprised that first time I heard it was with Mr. Q.
There you go.
We were ascending because Dr. Dre said, keep your head to the sky.
That's
and
right.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Yes, sir.
Check me out Thursday night on my show with Alonzo Williams. We do a show called Legendary Connects. He's the godfather of West Coast hip hop. We got Queen Burnett in the chat room connecting everybody. And me, of course, Dr. Dre, YoMtv Raps, Who's the Man? It's a great show.
And what's the name of that show again?
It's called Legendary Connects on Facebook Live.
Okay.
And on the YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm typing
and we're going to
get
Mr. Q to ascend to our program and continue this conversation.
Amen, brother.
I look forward to it.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Dre, thanks a lot, man. We're gonna talk a little bit later, but I'm gonna take you on off the screen now, and then I'm gonna wrap up the show, brother.
Love you, man.
All
Be
right,
good.
brother. I love you, man. Peace. All right. So, guys, that was Dr. Dre, man, and that was a great engagement, huh? Didn't we learn something off that today? Let me take off the other screen. Now, I think that we lost a little bit of that top of that program. That's all right. We're going to commune and reconnect with Dr. Dre at another time. And so I have some wonderful news. Ascension is going to be going on the road. And so I very soon will be announcing the first destination. Ascension is sometimes about taking chances. In order to get higher, it's an active thing. You got to do it. Faith without works is nothing. So I believe in putting philosophy into action, and to assist our disabled brothers and sisters around the world is a wonderful opportunity. And why not? Life is a great, great adventure. So I want you guys to come on back next week. I'm going to enhance the the connections to Dr. Dre. We got so wrapped up in the conversation, I didn't even put the banners for Dr. Dre in the show. So let me run it right now. Look at that. Okay, look at that. So I had it all ready and I didn't even put it out there. So I'm gonna let that run. And it's been a great time, guys. We're gonna see you next week. Next week, it'll be Chef T and I once again engaging you in the Ample Amputee podcast. But until then, keep on going higher. And thank you for joining me on Ascend with Mr. Q.